Hello, my name is TB from PrestaShop, and in this video I will talk about our newest module, the GDPR Compliance PRO. While it's not the first module to tackle the GDPR issues, it is by far the only complete one, which means that besides the request to delete the customer's data, we also make sure that you are able to inform your customers of all modules and functions which have tracking enabled, and you offer them the option to opt in or opt out of them. This is, at this point at least, exclusive to our module only, and we are the only ones who can offer this functionality. The module works by creating a pop-up which is displayed to first-time visitors to your site. It looks like this, and it has information about privacy, about cookies, and also the cookie policy. All this information can be edited from the module settings, and in the next few minutes I will walk you through the entire setup. The first tab contains the introductory text. We call it a welcome tab. This will be displayed by default to first-time visitors, and for the purposes of this demo we created a little text about controlling your privacy. Here we describe that when someone visits a website, it will store certain information, mostly in the form of cookies, and because we value and respect the privacy of the clients, we give them the option to opt in or opt out of using these cookies. And also very important, towards the bottom we do mention that their experience may be affected by disabling certain modules and certain cookies. So just make sure that together with the introductory text you also add a mention that continuing on the website with certain modules or functions disabled may affect their user experience. The next tab is for strictly necessary cookies, and here we wrote a short presentation about cookies which are required by the website to function properly. So think about the shopping cart. When you add a product to a cart, then that information about the product and the quantity needs to be stored so that when you get to the next page, the checkout, you can complete your order. The thing about these cookies is that they do not store any personally identifiable information, so they do not fall under the GDPR legislation. However, if the customer still wants to avoid using these, they can set their browser to block absolutely any cookie. The third tab is what we call performance cookies, and here you will basically list all the modules in your store which use any form of tracking, and the customer can then opt in to have their information tracked by these modules. What's important is that you write a good description of generally what they do, so that the clients get the entire picture and they can make an informed decision. The last tab allows you to add a link to your cookie policy or privacy policy. You should have this on your website already. If not, you can go to the CMS area and create the pages because they are mandatory. Finally, the module also adds a link to the footer, but this can be hooked anywhere on the site, and this link will allow customers to go back and change any of their settings. So first visit, they get the pop-up, they make their choices, they close it, but if they want to revisit their choices, they can always use this link. So after all this is written in and set up, this is basically how it will look on the website. The introductory text, the text about necessary cookies, the performance cookies, which I will get into a bit later, the link to the cookie policy. Clients can save this, or if they can close it, and then they can always access it again. Going back to the module, if your website has multiple languages, you can switch between them very easily and add the text in any language. When a customer switches languages in the front end, that content will be displayed. Now, getting back to the performance cookies, so I said earlier that this is a general text about what they are and what they do. However, our module gives you the option to add custom information about each module individually. To access the area, you will have to go to Manage Modules. Here you have a list of the active modules on your store, and you will have to look up the modules which store personally identifiable information. A very good example of this is Google Analytics. The first checkbox determines if the module is displayed to the customers and if they get the choice to opt into using it or continue browsing the website without it. The second part is the name. Usually the name of the module or the function. This can be translated to different languages. And the third option is the description. Here you will have to write all the information about the module, the type of tracking it does, and how it affects or improves the sales process. This needs to be done in order for the customer to make an informed decision and to know exactly what happens if they enable or disable the module. You will need to go through all the modules which use tracking or cookies and fill in all the required information. This part is often overlooked, and the other GDPR modules, at least at this point, do not have this, but this is actually a requirement of the GDPR law. If we go back to the front end, you will see the list of performance cookies, and here you see their names, and then next to them the information that you have previously written in. So the customers can go through this list and look at all the tracking modules, everything that uses cookies, and choose if they want to have them enabled. By default, and this is an actual requirement, they are all turned off. So the customers will have to go and allow the use of their information for all these modules. When they are done, they can click Save and then use the website appropriately. Finally, but very importantly, the customers have the right to have all their data deleted from a website. In order to do this, they can go into their customer account, and besides the standard tabs of order history, information, addresses, they have an additional option, Erase My Data. What happens here is they click on it and a message will get sent to the shop administrator, who will then action the request to delete the data within the legal time. The module is available for purchase and download on the PrestaShop Marketplace, and as mentioned previously, it is by far the most fully featured and the only one to this point which includes the options to opt into all the modules which use tracking. If you have any questions or require any more information, contact us through the Addons Marketplace or leave your comments on this video, and we will gladly provide any information you need.